And I understand, I'm just telling you that I do understand what you're saying about the financial burden, and I don't disagree with that. I think that's, I hate to say it, but it's kind of standard language. But again, that's just not, I don't think that that's our first priority. Like, I don't think our officers, first of all, I don't think our officers want to put people in jail for this, honestly, if I had to guess, I would say our chief is probably going, I don't even want to do this. Like, I don't even want to do this right now. I wish this would all go away, because it's not what they want to do. And I have watched them firsthand deal with individuals that they've had to remove and that kind of thing. And they have first of all, they have incredible patience. And second of all, they have incredible compassion, and they do not want to take people to jail. And I think we can all agree on that.
Yeah, so, and the detention center does not want to have to be the ones to take on this responsibility either. And specifically for people who are, who will be caught in the language of this ordinance, who are not really being disruptive. If you're chasing someone with a machete, you're gonna go to jail. But if you're setting fires to abandoned buildings, you're gonna go to jail for arson. There's a multitude of crimes that people can go to jail for, but it doesn't target people who are unhoused and not causing a disturbance. And the language of this ordinance, in a brief review, it does target people who, it's going to get people who are not disruptive to the community. It's going to get them tangled up into the criminal justice system, which I don't think is the city of Alamogordo's intent, correct?
No, yes. Definitely not.
So yeah, what that language is going to be, I'm not entirely sure. As you know, it's in Santa Fe, you may not know, but in Santa Fe all week last week, and really only had a decent amount of time to read this this week. So,
and I will say that if you look at our ordinances, like pick an ordinance, a lot of them say can be punishable up to a year in jail or $500 fine, right? A lot of our, I think that's, I hate to say standard language, but I think if we actually looked at how many people actually spend a year in jail, even though it says that, it probably, if it's not zero, it's probably close to that. Unless there are some extenuating circumstances. I would say the same thing with the fine. I just know historically, just from kind of watching and even just watching our police lots, it's very few. We just, it's there, it has to be there, but
I think the big concern with the detention center, yes, there's going to be a financial cost. There's going to be a financial tax burden to the city of Alamogordo, because the rate at which the city will pay to incarcerate, it will be going up. There's also going to be a tax burden on the county if individuals are picked up under this particular ordinance. But the real issue is the human cost of what this ordinance can potentially do. That will be perpetuated, and it's really hard to get out of.
Yeah. All right. Well, if you want to send us that,
I will.
That would be great.
Thank you.
Right, thank you. Okay. The last name is Martinez.
Brian?
Is it Brian?
Yes.
Okay. Sorry, I couldn't tell for sure.
I apologize for not writing on you as well. Madam Mayor, Mayor Pro Tem, Commissioners. My name is Brian Martinez. I run a small food truck in Alamogordo. Number one, I'd like to humanize this issue. I do give credit to Peg for actually mentioning the individuals who are affected. But I will tell you that I'm boots on the ground every day. I am one person, one man running one food truck who feeds anywhere between 2 and 10 people a day just out of my pocket. Everybody's talking about resources and how much is it going to be. I can feed 10 people a day just by myself. I've spoken to Angel, I've spoken to Samantha, William, Joseph, Alex, Chris, Mike, Mikey, Isaac, Manili, Brittany, Whitney. These are actual people who are living on our streets. I talked to these people. Has anyone here asked you're wanting people's opinions. I actually asked the homeless people that I interacted with this week specifically before coming to this meeting. I wasn't going to come, but I spoke to the homeless people that I interact with and to get their opinions about what services they need. And it came down to mental health, addiction, legal aid, incentives. I have people on the street who would be willing to clean up the streets if we have financial incentives for them, just a few bucks. So what I'm just saying is, I don't have really a lot to say. I apologize. But my thing is, I'm one person. In deference to the gentleman from LULAC, resources out the window, whatever resources you can. Like I said, I'm one person. I feed anywhere between 2 and 10 people every day. I don't actually keep track. This is out of my pocket. I do actually have people who come by and say, hey, look, I saw that you did this. They do help me out as well. But this is gonna have to be a long-term solution, because if this, do we need a resolution like this? Yes, sir. 'Cause I don't want people camping out in my front yard. I don't want people camping under my food trailer. Or every single person that I interact with that are on the streets warm and fuzzy? No. I don't like some of these people. I have actually had to call the police and have a gentleman trespass who was threatening me, who was homeless. But if that person did come back and said, hey, can I have a sandwich? Yes. Just because I don't like you, I'm still going to feed you because I have food, you have hunger, I'm putting the two together. That's what I do on a daily basis. And if we do pass this law, great, because like I said, it is necessary, but enforcing it, honestly, is just gonna drive these people further underground. So I can offer my services to 100% Otero, to Jeanette, to whomever, because I do see these people on a regular basis. That's all I have.
Thank you. Charlotte? Is it Ridge? Charlotte Ridge?
There is a saying that I hold very close to my heart, and that is, need offers few choices. The naked freeze in the frost. And what that means is that people will do anything to fill need. And certain levels of need induce madness. These people are in need, and they are relying on you. They are the most disenfranchised members of our community, and we are only as powerful as our most disenfranchised members of our community. I wholly believe 100% in my heart that this ordinance will do terrible things to those disenfranchised people. I am an echo of the people who provide you with statistics, who provide you with experience. You are being handed on a silver platter new resources and new ways to go about dealing with this issue. Why not try it? Why not? I mean, how often do you see people actually implementing restorative justice instead of punitive? Why not try something restorative? You are going to meet bad people wherever you go. There's going to be bad people, but they're still part of our community. And they still deserve a fighting chance at life, just like the rest of us. So remember my words. I implore you, as a member of this community, and who loves this community, as someone who was born here, and I take great pride in my town. We're a strangely important place, aren't we? Hold up the weakest members of your community when they can't do it on their own. You are being provided with resources on a silver platter. I lived in Denver for 15 years. I have seen what actual horrifying homelessness is like and what happens when those people are left. There was a Proposition 300 that stated that if voted yes upon, people would be allowed to camp publicly and exchange food with one another. That was stricken down unanimously almost with no. And those homeless people in Denver were put out on the streets, and they are hosed, and their things are taken, and their things are burned. I'm not saying this is the intention of Alamogordo, but I'm just giving you fair warning that one thing leads to another, and I don't want us to be known for that. We do not want to be known for that. Connect with Jeanette. She knows what she's doing. mobile crisis center. I've seen STAR work in Denver, in Colorado, and STAR serviced all of Colorado. And they would go to different areas when people called in a mental health crisis. They would be there within an hour, and they found it to be incredibly effective. I used to work for a nonprofit that provides services for health, essentially, it was Healthier Colorado. And they really put a lot of funding into the STAR unit, and they saw it very widely successful. I highly recommend looking into it.
Thank you.
But please remember,
Need offers choices. Where are you? Oh, there you are. You're
Is it
up.
my turn?
It's your turn.
We need to do announcements on deck so they can.
Twice in one day.
Twice on one day. I know, it's an honor. Thank you all for letting me speak today. I'm Rich Hernandez with Runner's Refuge. We serve our community through meals primarily, all kinds of different things. I just want to point out three things that I think in this ordinance, and this is the first time I've actually read it. The other stuff was just hearsay through social media, and you know how that works around the rumor mill. But it was my understanding that in this section 11-09-010, where it says camping, residing temporarily in a tent or a vehicle, I thought that a vehicle was an extension of our home in the state of New Mexico, so I don't know how you can really enforce that. And also, like somebody else has suggested, I don't know how that's being a detriment to the city if it's a licensed and insured vehicle on the streets of Alamogordo, that it should be able to be there, whether somebody's sleeping in it or not. The other thing that I noticed in here is it says in 11-09-050, it says immediate removal and maybe, one word, issued a citation. Does that mean that they could or they couldn't? Or does that mean, should it be two words where it says may be issued a citation? I think that's something that you need to look at. And also, I'd like to offer some solutions because I don't know that too many people have offered solutions. But we have a whole park where we're gonna build Chaparral Middle School, Hang Glider Park over by Griggs. Why can't we let them camp there legally? Let's put up a fence, let's put up some facilities, a shower and some toilets, and fulfill everything that this says in here. And the city can lease it to us for $1 for 100 years. I don't know, whatever you guys wanna do. You can't give it to us, but you can lease it to us at a cost-effective number. I suggest that. Or how about La Placita, that is already made up as little cubicles that we could use as transitional housing maybe, that we could use to put people up at an affordable rate. $10 a day, you know, $300 a month. It's something a lot of people can afford. They can panhandle $10 in 10 minutes on their favorite spot on their corner of Walmart and afford to live there and have a place that's not going to be camping, that's actually something that's affordable, that they can actually maintain, and they can go maybe get some of their mental health back because they have a safe place to return to, rest their head, and go get a job, and what everybody is suggesting. And let's have some more solutions. I know everybody's just saying, oh, we need to. I want to offer some solutions. We have a park that we're not using. Why don't we use it? We have city properties that are, for whatever reason, not being used. Why don't we use them? We could get around things like this that has to be, not intentionally, but by the way, it's going to affect a lot of homeless people in our community. And it is going to drive them underground. And I think in effect it's going to cause more violence and more stuff, because the more you put an animal in the corner, I'm not calling them animals, but the more you put an animal in the corner, the more defensive that they get. And if they feel they're being put in a corner, the more defensive they're going to get. And I don't think we need that at all. We need more solutions for it. So that's my 3 minutes worth. Thank you all. God bless you. I really enjoyed being here tonight, and I'm praying for you all.
And Anthony Torres, Pastor Anthony Torres, sorry.
Anthony Torres, Mountain Church. I want to thank you guys for putting this together. I think that this is very important. I think we have to understand that there's a dangerous place that we can never say this will never happen to me. And I think when we look at this ordinance, we got to think, what if I was out on the streets? Where could I go? You know, in 2009, I found myself in a park sleeping. I know what it's like to be on the streets, and I was that person that said, oh, this will never happen to me. So I think when you're looking at this ordinance, you got to ask yourself, if this was put into place and this is an ordinance that I'm going to draft and adopt, where would I go if I was put on the streets? with all due, no disrespect at all, Mayor and Commission, but I think reading letters from Las Cruces is not relevant for this meeting, or Alamogordo, because we're two different cultures. I can't go to Christ Community and pastor those people the same way we do our church. We're different culturally. And so Las Cruces and Alamogordo, we're different culturally. I do agree with Jeanette that if it didn't work in Las Cruces, it could probably work here. And so I do think that if you guys are gonna pass this, I think there does have to be a solution in place. I've been here for 10 years, and you know how many meetings I've been to, but no action. We have a lot of meetings, but there's never no action. And so I do think that if an ordinance is in place, I think action needs to be taken. We need to draft something where we can put something in place. I do know that talking to people on the streets and knowing a lot of them, they are looking for a hub, a place that they can go to shower, to eat, to sleep, to maybe even camp. I know Pastor Rich is doing that, but we're talking a hub that the city and the nonprofits and the businesses and everybody can get around, because this is not a one-person show. This is the whole community is gonna have to do their part and put their part in. I do believe that it is the city's duty to put something in order if this ordinance is adopted, because homeless people or street people are still citizens in the city. And it is our duty to take care of them like we would any other citizen. And so I know this is a very tough topic, but it's not gonna go away. It's never gonna go away. But I do believe we can have a solution. Because for 10 years that I've been here, it's just been Band-Aids. And we gotta get to a place where we do have some action. I told my wife the other day, I'm not gonna go to another meeting unless I see some action, because time is precious and tomorrow is not guaranteed. And so love every single one of you with my heart, and I pray for you because I know that your job is tough and it's difficult. So that's my 3 minutes, and that's my 3-minute sermon, and I'll stick to it.
Madam Mayor, would you recognize the speaker and yield the floor for 1 moment?
I'm sorry, but I what?
Would you yield the floor to the speaker for 1 minute for a question?
He wants to ask a question, and you have the authority to grant or not grant that.
No, you can come up here.
Thank you.
Oh, we're done.
Thank you, Ms. Mayor, for the opportunity to come up and speak. Fellow commissioners, Mayor Pro Tem. I'm looking at this from another point of view.
Sir, can you please state your name for the record?
Thank you. My name is Patrick Fuller. I'm Joe Schmo here to Alamogordo. I'm curious if this second ordinance could be used to intimidate property owners that could be allowing homeless people to camp on their properties.
So I believe that the ordinance states that if they have written permission from the property owner, that it's okay. Is that, I don't have it memorized, but I believe it says as long as there's written permission from the property owner. And I think the big thing that we're addressing with that is these vacant properties, that the homeowner doesn't even live here in Alamogordo. You know, they've allowed these properties to become dilapidated, and people are breaking into them, and as you heard earlier from our fire chief, they're starting fires, which is dangerous. That house, I'm assuming there were surrounding houses, the one on Maryland the other day, and you know, what do we do if someone's house goes up in flames? Because, and you know, and I get that it's cold, but you know, we have to address that too. And I think, and I have met with a lot of not everybody in this room, but quite a few people in this room, and I think the issue is that we have to weigh the this group and 100% Otero, that kind of, they're focused on a certain population, and I understand that. I do, because when I wear my other hat, I'm focused on that very same population, so I get it. But I think sitting up here, and I'm only gonna speak for myself, but really it is for all of us, we were elected to represent the entire city. And that is not just the homeless population, that is residents that rent, residents that own, residents that run businesses in our city, and we have to represent all of them. And so when we do that, we have to think about, and just because they're not here speaking today doesn't mean, at least for me, doesn't mean that I'm not getting the phone calls and I'm not getting, emails and those kinds of things, because I am. And so I have to weigh that, and it's really hard because that's in my head. But I think sometimes it appears like, we're heartless or we don't care, and that's not the issue. The issue is that when you're in this position, you have to consider the entire community. And for me, it's, whatever their socioeconomic class is, and it may be that, they make, $100,000 a year, right? Or it may be that they make nothing. To me, they're still residents of this city, and I represent all of them. And so when we talk about, the abandoned buildings and those kinds of things, I understand that they're in there to get out of the cold. I get it. I think we all understand that. The problem is it's dangerous. It doesn't belong to them, and it puts everybody around them in danger. And so that's clearly not a solution. I will tell you that I have heard what everybody has had to say tonight. It resonates with me. I take it to heart. I do, I'm not gonna get into too much of this, but I know what it's like to be homeless, and to be homeless with a baby, quite honestly, and I've experienced that, and I know what it's like to live in a tent. I still have PTSD from it, and it's been almost 40 years. And I hated every second of it, so I do understand how they feel. I do, and I think that as a community, we do have to come up with a solution. I think just for me, we're sitting here and we're talking about what the city has to do, and I'm thinking, in my head, the whole time I'm hearing this, I'm thinking, but what about the county? Why is it incumbent upon the city? And it's not. And then we've had discussions with the county. I'm not blaming them either. I'm just saying that we see this as a city issue, and I see this as how many homeless do we have in the county? I mean, I see this as an Otero County, not Otero County as in the county administration, but Otero County, which Alamogordo is a part of, as a whole. I think that it has to be a solution where we all work together. And I can tell you I'm not in favor of putting tents up at Hang Glider Park. I'm sorry, but I'm not, because I believe that we will have residents that will, I don't think I get it. And at least you came up with a solution, and I like that, but I really think that we would have a lot of residents arguing with us about that one, yeah. And it is close to the soccer fields and those kinds of things, and the baseball fields and all that. So I do think that might be an issue, but it's not like I think we all understand that we have to come up with a solution. I know that Stephanie has been working on some things, if you wanna just talk, and I know it's late, I understand, but we agreed to have this work session, so we might as well get this all out now. If you wanna talk about some of the things that you've been working on.
Absolutely. So first I want to kind of clear up a misconception. Jeanette is the city. Okay, so Jeanette, this commission approved the department to apply for the initial funding for the MRCT. And this commission did approve us to keep that department when that funding source ran out. And this commission funds Jeanette and a position, and the county also funds that. So when you say the city and Jeanette, there is no difference. Jeanette is the city reporting to the chief of police. I just need to clear that misconception of that she is on these boards as a city member. So just to clear that up a little bit. Also, so where this ordinance comes from, I don't think the intent is to criminalize the homeless. The intent is the frustration on our public safety aspect. And the conversation is fantastic. I've gotten a lot of phone calls, and the conversations have all been very productive to where we can incorporate some language. What I will say as far as the homelessness and the shelter, we have discussed this on many levels, and I spoke with RD, the county attorney today, and told him this is not a city issue, this is not the city's sole responsibility, because the city cannot afford this. You heard some of you heard the presentations that we have bridges over 40 that we're gonna have to replace. However, I did tell RB, what is successful, and you can look inside the state or outside the state, what is successful are public-private partnerships. If you want to take, I believe it's TRC, their housing authority created a separate nonprofit, and they are working it through that again. The city and the county working together with a private partnership is going to be more successful than anybody putting it on the county or anybody putting it on the city. And so I have spoken to RB about that. I have spoken to several people. I have one of our employees going to a conference. I think it's put on by, not HUD, do you remember?
No.
But anyway, she's going to a conference that deals with housing, the overview of housing, affordable housing, homelessness housing, workforce housing. So we are doing that part. On a phone call today, I am going to apply for, it's a grant, but it's not a grant. We don't get any money for it, but they are willing, once we apply for it, they're gonna do a housing strategy to see and what the city wants to do. And I just had that meeting, that was after I spoke with RB. So I asked them, can the county be involved in this? And they said, absolutely, part of their mission is to make sure that the proper partnerships are in place. So I will be inviting the county. The next aspect is the mental health aspect and substance abuse. The city is not equipped with that, for that, neither is the county. That's where another private public partnership has to come in, because there is an entity up the road, Chris's Hospital, that is in their wheelhouse. That is not the city's wheelhouse, that's not the county's wheelhouse. There are opportunities where city can help and provide some resources, we can provide land, but there has to be a proposal, and it has to be something that all of us buy into, because as much as I would like to fund a whole housing department, the reality is we got out of the housing business because we couldn't do it. That's when we turned over our housing authorities to Eastern. So, there is no good solution, but I do feel that a good public-private partnership for two aspects of this is needed. But it's not just the city, it has to be a county issue, because we can't afford this solely.
Madam Mayor, if I could ask a question. The reason I asked this question earlier is because I understand that homelessness is a community issue. But unfortunately, as a community, we've shown that we really can't find solutions to this. Recently I made the decision to invite a homeless disabled vet to live on my property, and has been for the last 5 months, because he's had nowhere to go. He's been waiting on his institutional Medicaid to be passed. It's uncomfortable. It costs money.
With the gentleman that did he leave that had a burrito truck?
So all I'm saying is that there is a solution, and I feel it's internal. But thank you for at least admitting that I'm not going to be prosecuted for that.
And then I just had one more thing that, in the short term, because there's a long-term solution, health, shelters, etc. A short-term solution is we have started to begin to reach out to Las Cruces, to El Paso, to other neighboring communities who do currently have shelters and like the Cedar Valley Treatment Hospital. In the short term, is there a way for us, if this ordinance goes into effect, or if there's another version of it that goes into effect, to reach out and say, the city is willing to pay the city of Alamogordo until we get a long-term solution in the city of Alamogordo, to pay these entities to help with, whatever that is, whether it's substance abuse or to help the homeless population. So there is a lot being done within what the capabilities that we do now. We've worked with the state, we've worked with HUD, we've worked with everybody. So I think this ordinance can be rewritten. I think that there's a lot of things that need to be taken out and a lot of things that need to be changed, but the reality is our public safety individuals who keep all of you safe need help and need relief too. And that's where this frustration on the city side comes in. Like we acknowledge that there's a homeless population, but we also acknowledge that our resources are strained. Our public safety is strained, our fire, our police, our code enforcement. So that's kind of the overview from where I'm sitting.
Hi.
May I?
Yes, come on up.
Thank you, Anthony Torres, Mount View Church. I hear everything you're saying. I understand that the city can't take it all on. I think that when the city and the county can come together, and again, I understand that the city has a lot of things that you guys are working on. Like, I know that. But there's that old saying, hey, show me your checkbook and I'll show you your priorities. And that's true. I mean, I understand, I get that. And I think we gotta change our verbiage that it can't happen to it can happen. Because it can. And I think if we
I'm
get.
saying the city cannot do it alone.
Well, I know that.
I'm not saying we can't. I'm saying we cannot do it alone.
Right. But I think getting a meeting and saying, okay, where is all this pool of resources going with the county and the city? But not just putting it on the county and the city. We got over 40 churches here. We need to put it on them too. I mean, we need to put it on them too.
You have to talk to the
You know, we gotta put it on the people that want to help, you know, the nonprofits and everything. And so, I mean, it can be done.
So also on that line, show me the checkbook. Our budget is coming up and we are doing a presentation of what our departments are doing to show what our priorities are. And our priorities do include water, sewer, streets, bridges now, the types of infrastructure. We're not wasteful on what we do. We do provide community quality of life. But I invite everybody, we live stream them and there's a live, we are in this chamber for 3 days. And if you want to see our checkbook, you are more than welcome to come and provide input.
But we know that there's grant money out there. There's grant money out there. If we're gonna have 55 projects, put 56 and put grants on that. You know, that's what we're seeing. You know, and I get it, I understand, because I mean, I have 10,000 ideas for mental health and addiction, and listen, we don't have any money, but we're praying that God will make a way, and we're starting to see some things that might happen that we've been working on for the past 6-7 years. But I do know that when we put everything together, we can all make it happen. So thank you.
Might as well.
I just feel like it's, hello, I'm Sasha Torres, Mount View Church. Thankful, Sharon, Mayor Pro Tem, and Mayor, I was thankful to meet you the other day at our shelter when we had it open. I just want to say that I feel like it's a responsibility that, Ms. Mayor, you have to pay attention to the narrative that you're trying to create tonight, because you're reading letters from people who don't live in our community, and you're talking about drugs and crime and killing, and everybody is afraid. But then later you state, I have all the emails from our business owners, but you're not reading them. You're not making clear what it is you're trying to do with the ordinance, besides keeping the people who are out there and have no choice.
That's not exactly what I meant. What I mean is that when I consider anything, not just this, but anything, I have to consider all of it. And just because people don't show up to a meeting, I'm not saying specifically for this, I'm just saying that just because people don't show up to a meeting doesn't mean that they're not communicating. And I'm sorry, I did not mean to
Just
interrupt.
real quick, to be fair, we are also bringing in the people from Las Cruces to talk about what they have done there. So it's to be fair, there's two sides to every story. So I think it is appropriate if we're going to allow them to come in here and talk about their homeless as well.
Right, but what I'm saying is to be responsible to portray the narrative that you're trying to create for the community of Alamogordo, not trying to bring in what's happening in Las Cruces just for the fact that you said that you would read them. Because if you are receiving emails from people in this community, we'd like to hear them. Because it's going to take a person that's homeless 2 hours to walk, 2 days to walk to Las Cruces. It's not affecting us. So I understand that they're struggling over there, and we've helped in Las Cruces with homelessness as well, but what I'm saying is that the responsibility is to create the narrative that is showing that you actually care about the people who are in your community, and we're asking for help from a different community find some kind of a solution to these issues, it's just confusing when I'm sitting here and we're like, what? I don't understand. So I'm speaking for myself and a couple of us in the front row, maybe changing the narrative and changing the way that you're coming about presenting these things, because it's confusing. Because we live here and we're hearing, we want solutions, but also we're hearing, this is what's happening in Las Cruces. Well, thank you for Las Cruces coming to try to help us, but Las Cruces doesn't have anything to do with Alamogordo's homelessness.
Well, okay, but if then that's the case, then we shouldn't have the Community of Hope come either, so.
No, that's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying, I mean, that's on you, but what I'm saying is you have to be clear, because when you're speaking to us that are here, to the
I
people,
understand what you're saying.
sharing that you promise people who don't live here, that you will give their voice to a community that they don't live in, when you're not sharing the voices of the community that are complaining to you through email.
I don't have any emails to share
You
with you.
just said you did.
No, what I said was.
It's recorded, and that's fine, I'm
Okay,
just saying to be cautious because
I was trying to,
it's confusing.
okay, all right.
So, no disrespect. The other thing is that we're all here trying to find a solution, and this ordinance states that if a person has permission to camp on another person's property, then they're allowed to. But I guarantee you, on the street that I live on, with the property line that I have, when Crazy Legs and the other men, that if I ask them to come and stay on my property, our community, our neighborhood is not gonna be okay with that because of where we live, because it's an open space. So, if the verbiage is here, but if I were to, like Patrick, bring someone over on my property and let them camp out in the neighborhood that I live in, it's not gonna be okay. You know, I want to help people, and if I'm able to do that, I can, according to the ordinance. Honestly, the community is gonna call the police on me for allowing a homeless person to sleep on my sidewalk. So, I mean, I think we have to really review what's written in here and really take into consideration the things that we're trying to portray.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And I'm gonna clarify this again, and I did try to clarify. When I was speaking in general. What I was trying to say, apparently I get in trouble every time, but what I was trying to say was that when I consider something, I have to consider the community as a whole. Even if they're not here, they may have sent me an email or a text or something like that. I wasn't specifically talking about this, I was talking in general, trying to explain that's where we're coming from. We're trying to consider the entire community. So I'm sorry if that didn't come out or that was a misunderstanding, but I did try to clarify that. As far as reading the emails from Las Cruces, I did read them. I asked, I got some advice on that, and I did read them. And sometimes when we look at these things, when we look at ordinances, not just this ordinance, but ordinances in general, we do look to other communities to see what other communities are doing. So I didn't find it to be inappropriate, because Las Cruces would be one of the communities that we looked at for various things, not just a camping ordinance, but pick something. I mean, there's lots of different things where we look at Las Cruces and go, okay, what's Las Cruces doing, or what is Roswell doing, or what is Carlsbad? So I didn't find it to be inappropriate. Maybe unpopular, but not inappropriate, and those are their real experiences. So, and finally, what I want to say is, again, what I will say is that I think that many of us up here do care and do want solutions, and I would challenge anybody that thinks, and speaking for myself, that thinks that I don't, because I definitely want solutions, because honestly, it'll only make my life easier. And so yes, I want those solutions, but it is very difficult. Again, I'm only gonna speak for myself, but it is very difficult for me. This is probably a very awkward position for me to be in, to be honest with you, because it is a conflict for me in some ways. But I really do have to try to separate that, and I do agree with Stephanie. I think that it needs to be a partnership with the county. I think it can't just be on the city. It's too much money. I do think that all of these other projects are incredibly important, and if you turned your tap on and water didn't come out of it, you would think that too, which, by the way, was a very real possibility if we didn't do something. If we, those things are just as important, and not everybody's priorities are gonna be the same. And so all of those things that we're working on are things that as a municipality, we have to work on. We have to. I really do believe the state would come down on us if we weren't working on those things. And they are important, and they have to get done, or we can't even support growth. I mean, if we don't fix our aging and crumbling infrastructure, we can't even support growth in our city. So it is important, but I'm not even gonna debate whether I care about the homeless or unsheltered or want a solution, because if I have to explain that one more time, then that's it. I'm just not gonna do it anymore. I definitely care, and I have great compassion for people that have mental health issues. I've had them in my family. I just lost a brother with a mental health issue, so I do understand what that's like. It's an incredibly difficult position. I don't think our officers want to be put in a position to take people to jail because they're camping on our sidewalks, but we have to have this discussion. We have to come up with another solution, because the solution is not just to let them exist. And I feel very strongly about that. So with that, it's 9:35. I'm gonna let the commission decide. Do you want me to take any more comment?
You've already left them, so you might as well. We've got two right here.
Okay. All right, Greg, if you want to come up.
Thank you so much, Madam Mayor and Commission. All I want to say is I am committed to finding solutions, and I would like.
Can you state your name? Tell us who you are.
Yes, I'm Greg Gutierrez from Tularosa, New Mexico, and I'm an Otero County resident. I am committed to finding solutions, and I'd like to invite anybody and everybody who is also committed to finding real solutions to please put my phone number in their phone and be in touch with me, and let's talk about it, and let's find grant writers, and let's get some grants going. Let's do this. I'll give you my phone number right now. It's 480-489-1111. 480-489-1111. I am willing to do whatever it takes. I'm looking at forming my own nonprofit or piggybacking with another one. Whatever I need to do, that's what I'm going to do. I'm not trying to be negative here. I mean, I understand that people want to kind of clean up the city, and I'm not against that, but we also need to take care of our homeless people, and that's what I want to do. Thanks.
State your name. State your name, make your statement.
Okay, you're good. Thank you. Go ahead.
My name is Maya Sosa. I'm here today, and I was also an Alamogordo citizen.
Closer to the mic so we can hear you, please.
Pull your mic down to you.
I've lived here for 12 years now. Just to repeat, just in case, my name is Maya Sosa for the records. I'm here to say that I am a college student. I've had my own financial issues, and I'm thankful to be in a house that I'm able to stay in thanks to my roommates and the great support system that I have. The point that I'm getting at is this meeting is my first one, and it was negative in nature, and that was not by anybody's intention. That's just all of the stress that is on everybody in this moment. So I wanted to come up here and just say that I'm grateful that we have resources in town, like 100% of Otero, Lilac, the Mountain View Church, everyone that has come up here and spoken and offered their support for resources in our town, because I also agreed that having a support or like a support-based system more so over penalty would be more beneficial for everybody, including our homeless and every citizen that lives in Otero County. So that's all I wanted to come up here and say. It's just that I'm grateful for everybody that is here offering, because I know that as a citizen myself, that is what I want to see here, and I hope that that's the general consensus that we want to provide support. Thank you.
Where are you going to college on the Hill? What are you studying?
So I'm getting an Associate of Arts right now. part in educational leadership with a focus in higher education, but I've also had interest in so many different fields, so that can change here and there.
That's one of my degrees.
It's like Stephanie gave some feedback.
Talk with me.
I might, it's stressful, I'm only looking for my associates, so.
I did not get my master's degree till I was 50 years old. I received my diploma the day or my, whatever you call it, the day I turned 50. Don't do what I did.
It's
Anyway,
never too late.
She's
That's
100
something that I
now.
always say, community colleges.
I feel like it was, but anyway,
Very population, never too late.
thank you. Okay, do we have anybody else? All right, well, thank you all for coming. You're right, it can be very contentious. These subjects usually are, but I think it's an important discussion. And I think that there were a lot of great input tonight. And, you know, we're gonna continue working on it. I'm sure we're gonna continue talking about it. We will see what happens. I'm looking forward to hearing. I have actually heard the presentation from Community of Hope before. They have been up here before and I've heard it, and they're doing some great things down there. So looking forward to that. And with that, does anybody have, I think we're done, right? Does anybody have anything else? Okay, do I have to make a motion to adjourn? I can't remember. A motion from Commissioner Reardon, a second, do I have a second? Mayor Pro Tem McDonald. No. We're adjourned. I can't ever remember we're supposed to vote. I'm sorry.
Finally.
We are adjourned, thank you.
It was worth it, but
Thank you.
I know.
Thank you.
Somebody behind me reading.
listen to everybody. Stay away from me, dog. Don't follow me.
Yes, ma'am. No, I'm gonna come back.
any guy who he like stood up and asked permission to go up and on.
Have a good evening.
You as well. Right. I wanted to like commend him for what he said, because he was exactly what I was talking about. He gave me that. Yeah, you want to talk about Afghanistan 9/11?
Yeah, so, well, okay, so I do want like my
All right, I think we're good. That was long and worth it, and probably the most exciting one that we had. That dude wanted to talk to me outside and shit. Then he stared me down the rest of the meeting. I happened to be filming like right next to the cops, so when I noticed, probably like the 20th time him fucking mean mugging me, I'm all like, dude, just be warned, I have the right to defend myself. So now I'm gonna film my walk to the store here. Keep watching my back because that fool. Him and like 2 other people are the only people I know that'll fucking talk about the homeless like it's a race and he's racist. That's why I booed him before he could even speak, because I knew what the fuck he was gonna say. I have my right to do so. If I couldn't say boo, then nobody can clap. You know what I mean? That's how it is. So many good opinions tonight, though. Thank you for watching. Like, comment, subscribe, all that shit.